Down goes Golurk. It's all up to Cacnea. Out comes Marowak. Look at the sucker punch damage. Cacnea gets the farm down, leaving with the Trailblaze, and that is going to be all she wrote. Welcome back to the channel. My gosh, do we have some battle submission today. Firstly, huge thank you to Ben for this incredible battle submission. Ben has been one of the biggest supporters of the channel. So firstly, I'm going to say thank you. And secondly, as you can see on the screen, Cacnea is so spicy, pvpoke don't even rank it. However, just because pvpoke don't rank it doesn't mean it's not going to have play. We've seen numerous content creators put out Shadow Cacturn videos, which certainly has some play due to that sucker punch buff and the fact it's got Trailblaze, which also got buffed, meaning it can just vamp up that oppressive sucker punch damage. Cacturn runs the very hard hitting fighting type charge move of Dynamic Punch for coverage. Cacnea doesn't have access to Dynamic Punch. It has got access to a fighting type move, and that is Brick Break. Brick Break, just a couple of seasons ago, got a buff, meaning it now has a 100% chance to debuff your opponent's defense. As Ben will be running Cacnea as his lead, he's going to have the ability to debuff opponents' defenses when they say switch him on that we don't have the best response for, which can be very advantageous. You can see both Cacnea and Cacturn don't have an impressive stat product, but they are both very oppressive and hit insanely hard. You can see some other charge moves you've got access to, but Brick Break and Trailblaze is the way to go. If you're wondering just how glassy Cacnea is, well, think of Surfetched, a Pokemon that cannot tank a hit to save its life. Well, this thing's a Shadow, so it's got a 20% debuff to its defense, and it's got 100 less stat product. With that being said, it's time to find out what this rank 1 best body level 51 Shadow Cacnea can do in the Open Great League. Without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, we're off to a very tough start, leading Cacnea into Charizard. We see the save switch into Shadow Golurk, baiting out Dragonair. Dragonair doesn't shield the Shadow Punch. Dragonair straight in and straight out. Out comes Granbull. Golurk still not done. Reaches the Shadow Punch. Shadow Punch forces the first Protect Shield. And then we send out Drapion. Drapion tearing through Granbull with these buff Poison Stings. Ben going to be looking for the one shield. Poison Sting farm all the way down. We do leave with the double Aqua Tail, but we did get the defense drop, so Ben resets his debuff, sends out Cacnea. My god, look at the sucker punch damage. Charizard forced to throw the Dragon Claw back out. Comes Drapion. We are doubled up. Can we survive the wing attack? The first Aqua Tail forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. Drapion says, who was worried? I've got enough HP to survive the wing attack, reach the next Aqua Tail, and that's going to be all she wrote. In the next battle, we see Dragonair in the lead. Ben banks a boatload of energy before save switching into Drapion. Ben has very nicely edited these battles. However, with only a 1 second countdown, so my god, are we going to be talking at 1 million miles an hour? The opponent answers our Drapion save switch with Toxapex. Clearly Ben's playing on Android as he is getting frame drops left, right and centre. I know how you feel, buddy, as this game is trash on Android. Drapion able to get back-to-back defense drops, but Toxapex still able to keep switch advantage. Ben just elects to let Drapion go down. We now send out Golurk. Golurk gets a very nice running start. Back out comes Dragonair. Dragonair already at the Aqua Tail, and we're going to see the first Protect Shield deployed. Ben shields up the Aqua Tail. I think we're going to go for the full Mud Slap farm down. Ben actually banks some energy, snipes with Cacnea, and out comes Azumarill. Azumarill instantly greeted with the Trailblaze. These bubbles certainly don't look resisted. Cacnea, oof. I like this play. Reaches the next Trailblaze. Ben baits with the Brick Break, lowering the opponent's defense and its CMP. Oh, baby. Ben now sends out Golurk. Golurk going to be doing massive damage with the Shadow Punch at a -1 defense. The first Shadow Punch rocks him into the yellow. The second Shadow Punch is going to remove Azumarill from the field of play, and we emerge victorious. In the next battle, we see Charjabug in the lead. Again, these Volt Switches are supposed to be resisted, but when you've got a 1400 stat product, you don't really resist anything. The opponent forces a Protect Shield with the X-Scissor and then send out Walrein. Walrein instantly puts up that Protect Shield, petrified of the Cacnea. Or to be honest, they probably don't know the moveset, although I'm not going to blame them for that. Who actually did know Cacnea's moveset before seeing this video? Ben tanks the Icicle Sphere, fires off the Crunch. Crunch lands for heavy damage at a -1 defense. Ben now looking for the one shield. Poison Sting farm down. Ben now has no Protect Shields, too high beyond the opponent, not wanting to get farmed down. Send out Charjabug. Charjabug shields up the Aqua Tail. Drapion able to reach the Crunch. Crunch will be removing Charjabug from the field of play. Let's hope Golurk's good against whatever's in the back. Oh boy. We're good against Clodsire, but Clodsire going to get a massive Poison Sting farm down. We land the Aquatail. Oh boy, Ben's going to have to make a catch. We send out Golurk, fire off one Mud Slap. Sacrifice Cacnea to the Pokegods. Earthquake, even resisted, does secure the knockout. The opponent's going to need to make a catch in return. They don't make the catch. Shadow Punch removes Clodsire from the field of play. We Mud Slap farm down Walrein and take that game. In the next battle, we see Clefable in the lead. These Fairy Winds completely tearing us apart. This is only a Swift. Oh my god. I've used Clefable a fair amount in the Great League, and I honestly thought Swift was one of the most underwhelming moves. However, if you're facing a Cacnea, oh shit. We just got one shot by a Moonblast as well. Well, this battle isn't going according to plan. YouTube, if you're spying on me again, don't demonetize yet another video. For me swearing, that swearing was very much justified with the opponent landing that huge boom. Ben, hoping that Drapion going to be able to put in a huge amount of work, as it's essentially going to have to carry the team. Out comes Skunk Tank. Ben fires off the Aquatail, then goes for the wham bam combo play, sends out Cacnea. Cacnea forces the opponent's first Protect Shield. Drapion looking to double up on Aquatails. Aquatail with a -1 defense should be securing the knockout. Oof, unfortunately, it isn't quite lethal. Ben gonna shield this move up, commit to the Poison Sting, farm down. Come on, have something like a Trevenant in the back. That certainly isn't a Trevenant. That's Wish Daddy Cash, a Pokemon that isn't all that common in the Great League anymore. But unfortunately for Ben, it's going to be G to the G and not in his favour. Drapion lands the crunch. The opponent reaches the Mud Bomb, and Drapion unfortunately doesn't manage the 1v3. GG to that opponent. In the next battle, we've got some Shadow on Shadow Crime with Cacnea into Feraligatr. The opponent farm up some energy before sending out Clodsire. Ben going for the Brick Break, looking to lower the opponent's defense. The opponent invests the Protect Shield, which is best case scenario. Ben can now match shields, commit to the full Mud Slap farm down, and he's going to leave with so much energy. Golurk usually not particularly good into Gator. However, we have a huge amount of energy. Ben looks to take the extra Mud Slap, ensuring he's doubled up on charging. We shield at the Hydro Cannon, return fire with the Shadow Punch. The Shadow Punch forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. Ben says, thank you very much for that free shield and remove yourself from my screen. Shadow Punch picks up the knockout. Out comes Cresselia. Cresselia not going to be appreciative of the Shadow Punch. Shadow Punch lands for heavy damage. Cresselia, one of the thickest mon in the format, but Golurk still rocks it below half health. Grass Knot secures the knockup. Ben sends out Cacnea. Cacnea going to be able to get the full Sucker Punch farm down, and we take that game. In the next battle, we see Lantern in the lead. This season, Surf now costs 45 energy, meaning they're going to be 7 to the first. The opponent completely sacks Lantern and then send out Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz instantly going to be greeted with the Brick Break. Brick Break won't do too much damage, but will of course lower the opponent's defense. Ben opting to stay in because of course Golurk wants no part of this Mandibuzz. We can now align Drapion onto Mandibuzz, and I was going to say Golurk onto whatever's in the back, but Golurk quite literally has nowhere to run and nowhere to hide into this team. Well, it would have been quite good against that silly electric fish, but the opponent's evidently got 2 answers for ground types in the back, so not a bad team comp from this opponent, despite running very hard meta. That certainly isn't to my taste. Ben forces both Protect Shields with the crunches. Another thing that isn't to my taste is the opponent running Bubble Beam. Surf is now more expensive, but I'd still run Surf over the annoying Bubble Beam. We then see the pivot into Golurk, baiting back out Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz takes massive damage from the Dynamic Punch. This should put it into Poison Sting farm down range. Foul play knocks us out, back out comes Drapion. Drapion gets the full Poison Sting farm down, leaving with the crunch, and it's going to be Spice 1, basic bitch meta nil. GG's, and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we see some more Shadow on Shadow Crime with a familiar lead of Cacnea into Feraligatr. Despite the opponent going straight for a Hydro Cannon, I have no doubt in my mind it would one-shot us. Ben puts up that Protect Shield. The opponent then pivots out into Clodsire, making a very nice catch, catching the Brick Break, but undeterred, Ben now sends out Golurk. We're kind of forced to respect an Earthquake. The opponent full sends the Earthquake, which will enable Ben to get the full Mud Slap farm down. Feraligatr it did dump its energy before leaving the arena. Ben fires off one Mud Slap and the Shadow Punch for optimal fast move time, and the first Shadow Punch forces the Protect Shield. Again, I would have liked to see Ben go for the one and throw, as Feraligatr still wasn't at a charge move yet. However, to be fair, Feraligatr still forced dump their energy immediately. Hydro Cannon picks up the knockout. I think that's Sucker Punch farm down range. Let's go Cacnea. Out comes Cacnea. Cacnea looking for that sucker punch farm down, which we get. Out comes Stinky Binky, and Stinky Binky not going to appreciate the Trailblaze. How much does this do? Holy, over half their health. We then see the pivot into Drapion. Drapion going to need to reach 2 Aqua Tails, and to do that, we're going to have to survive a Moonblast. Oh boy, can we survive a Moonblast from this range? Moonblast isn't quite lethal. Drapion survives, reaches the next Aqua Tail, and we're going to emerge victorious. GG's. In the next battle, we see a Bomber Snow in the lead. Absolutely dreadful. And we're ABA weak to this thing, as of course, we're ABA weak to ice, as both grass and ground take super effective from ice. We save switch into Drapion, which is our only real response for that thing, baiting out Clodsire. Drapion able to land 2 super effective Aqua Tails, which still leaves him in the yellow, which is kind of ironic, as Cacnea, taking just a single resisted move, gets knocked out, essentially from full health. Ben correctly shields up the Earthquake, fires off the Aqua Tail. The opponent opt to just completely sack Clodsire and send out Dunsparce. Dunsparce greeted with the Crunch, force of protection, then to the pivot, back into Cacnea. Rock Slide has been nerfed this season. Oh boy, that still did far too much damage. Ben goes straight for the Brick Break. Brick Break will be hitting for super effective, and it forces the opponent's final protection. The opponent commits to the full rollout farm down. Ben now finds himself in not the worst position. With a 1-0 shield advantage, Ben sends out Golurk. We're going to have to tank this drill run. Huh? Why would you throw a Rock Slide at Golurk? What just happened? This time the opponent does fire off the drill run. Golurk able to survive the damage. We then see the Simul swap of Drapion greeting a Bomber Snow. Drapion shields up the Weather Ball, reaches the Crunch, gets a Bomber Snow, very low, getting the defense drop. We get the Poison Sting farm down and take that game. In the next battle, this time we see Dunsparce in the lead. Ben farms up, throws the Brick Break on the CMP type. Brick Break goes unshielded. I don't think we can one shield and farm down. To do that, we're going to need 4 Sucker Punches to knock out. Unfortunately, 4 Sucker Punches aren't lethal, as Dunsparce incredibly bulky, hence it's so common. Ben happy to 2-shield Cacnea, and why not? He spent 675,000 Stardust and probably a month to best buddy this thing. Out comes the ever annoying basic bitch Tin Can. The opponent reluctant to shield the first Brick Break. They're certainly going to have to shield the second. Cacnea forces that Protect Shield. Ben continuing to stay in, looking to force the energy. Unless his opponent's running Flash Cannon, Golurk going to be a complete wall to the energy. We send out Golurk. The opponent gets deleted in the blink of an eye, and out comes Quagman. Oh boy, that's a core breaker. Golurk fires off the Shadow Punch, forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. Quagsire doesn't overfarm by much, not fancying taking the oppressive Mud Slap damage. Even if the opponent's got Mud Bomb, Drapion will be able to survive 1. Clearly they don't have it, as they fire off the Aqua Tail. Ben looking to reach a double Aqua Tail to remove Quagsire from the field of play. The first Aqua Tail gets the opponent low. Drapion able to reach the second one, and Drapion is going to be a Quagsire counter confirmed. You heard it here first. GG's. In the next battle, we see Alolan Marowak in the lead. Despite us having Sucker Punch, not a fantastic matchup. We see the save switch into Drapion, and out comes Feraligatr. Feraligatr, not a particularly good Drapion answer, as we do resist the Shadow Claws. The opponent gets greedy, allowing Drapion to reach the Aqua Tail and force us early shield advantage. I just take my shield advantage and look to farm down with Cacnea. Looks like Ben had the same idea. We actually survived the Hydro Cannon. Gator dumps the second one, but they're now insanely low, so perhaps we're only going to get 1 or 2 Sucker Punches, hopefully 2. Nope, 1 is definitely enough to secure the knocker. Out comes Marowak. We see the pivot into Golurk. The opponent stays in, looking to force a protection, and Ben happy to oblige. The opponent full sends a Shadow Bone, which is pretty much overkill, to be honest. I think we are always shielding whatever they throw. They could potentially be on Twin Nukes, but I highly doubt it. The opponent's final Pokemon is revealed to be Whimsicott. Ben shields up the Seed Bomb, then throws 1 Mud Slap and the Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch will be forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. Ben looks to make the catch, but unfortunately stuck in the Mud Slap animation. Seed Bomb secures the knockout. We see the pivot into Cacnea. The opponent sends out Marowak. Marowak gets farmed down. Cacnea leaves with the Trailblaze, and despite this being resisted, easily giving enough to pick up the dub. GG's. Uh-oh. I was going to say I reckon 3 charms would knock us out, but we're not going to find out, as we see the pivot into Golurk. The opponent continues to stay in, so Ben takes the initiative, fires off the Shadow Punch, of course forcing a Protect Shield. who runs a tap nonsense toxic charmer without shielding absolutely everything. Ben now sends out Drapion. We are going to see the protect shield deployed on a potential close combat. The opponent does fire off the close combat, which would hit for some heavy neutral damage. The opponent does lower their defense, and out comes Ampharos. Ben does throw the crunch on alignment. So using a 2-turn move into a 4-turn move, you just want to throw on an odd number, but Ben does manage to catch the brutal swing back onto Cacnea, and out comes a Razor Leaf Ivysaur. What the hell is this team? Ben fires off the Brick Break, lowering Ivysaur's defense. I think I personally here would just go for the full Poison Sting farm down, leaving with double charge with it. Ben opts to throw the Aqua Tail. Actually, I didn't realise Ampharos was so low, so I guess that was the correct play. We can just shield up the next move, commit to the Poison Sting farm down, and take that game. In the next battle, we see Kentucky Fried Chicken, a bird of death in the lead. Ben fires off one Sucker Punch, then transfers the Incinerate onto Drapion. Drapion invests the Protect Shield, shielding up the fly. We then see Ben go for a very nice fast move timing, 2 Poison Stings and the Aqua Tail. Again, Ben being very disciplined here, throwing 2 Poison Stings and the Aqua Tail, only giving the opponent 1 free turn. Drapion's actually managed to get his Talonflame in a range where 2 Sucker Punches will knock him out, so we're not even going to take a boosted Incinerate. Ben sends out Cacnea. Of course we get 1 turn bringing on, man. This game is so trash at times. That 1 turn lag meant we had to take a boosted Incinerate, losing almost half our health. Although, speaking of which, Aurora's lost almost all of its health, not respecting the Brick Break. We then snipe with Golurk, and out comes Clefable. Ben fires off the Shadow Punch, forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. The opponent's only got 1 chance to throw the Moonblast. They go for the bait, but no bait will be saving this opponent's fate, as the next Shadow Punch is going to be all she wrote. GG's. In the next battle, we see Ampharos in the lead, a very nice lead for Ben. Ben fires off the Brick Break, potentially looking to cap tie the opponent. I don't know why I said that. I'm never going to work for Play Pokemon. I always call it a CMP tie. The opponent tanks the Brick Break, then send out Beedrill, and we answer with Drapion. Drapion tanks the X's and returns fire with the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail also goes unshielded. Ben is going to be able to outpace to the next Aqua Tail, and this is either going to force a Protect Shield or secure the knockout. The opponent opts to invest their final Protect Shield. Ben with a 2-0 shield advantage, happy to shield this move up, knowing he will reach an Aqua Tail as long as we don't lag out. Gosh, I almost talked that one into existence. We get a huge amount of frame drops, but Ben still able to reach the Aqua Tail, securing the knockout. Out comes Wish Daddy Cash. I believe it's on Water Gun. It's quite hard to see as the opponent going to make a very brief cameo appearance. Get that Wish Cash off my screen. Ben sends out Golurk. We're going to see the instant shield deployed. The opponent fire off the Trailblaze, looking to vamp up their attack. They're able to survive the next Mud Slap. However, 1 Poison Sting should be enough to knock out. Drapion gets the Poison Sting farm down, and we take that game. In the next battle, we see the ever-annoying bulky Vulture in the lead. We are very ABA weak to this thing. Ben opts to catch onto Drapion. I'm not really sure how I feel about that play, to be honest, because with Drapion out of the way, how do we deal with this Mandibuzz? Best case scenario would be if the opponent just continued to stay in and actually make the Aqua Tail catch onto Clodsire. The super spammy Drapion able to outpace to the next Aqua Tail, forcing a Protect Shield. Not that the opponent needed to shield that move, as they could have easily survived. The opponent running Sludge Bomb as well. Sludge Bomb secures the knockout. Ben now sends out Golurk. Golurk going to be looking for that full Mud Slap farm down. We're going to see a Protect Shield deployed. Thankfully, the opponent doesn't bait with the Sludge Bomb like a savage. Although, why the hell are you sending out Bastion into Golurk? Trainer, are you serious? Ben banks a Dynamic Punch for the road. Goes to the Wham Bam combo play. Fires off the Brick Break. Picking up the knockout. Back out comes Mandibuzz. The opponent plays the CMP tie. They do not win. A shout out to the GOAT, Home Slice Henry. He recently featured my battles with G-Weezy in the Ultra League. Go check him out, as he is without a doubt the GOAT. Back out comes Golurk. Golurk over farms. Once again, playing to the CMP tie. Fires off the Dynamic Punch. Picking up the knockout. Back out comes Clodsire. Ben fires off the Shadow Punch. And Shadow Punch, despite not being bubbled, is going to take that game. And that is going to just about wrap things up for today's showcase. Huge shout out to Ben for showcasing an incredibly spicy pick in the Open Great League. My gosh, Even me, who speaks at a million miles an hour, was struggling with them very fast-paced battles. If you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing if you like your battles featured on my channel, much like Ben had. My battle submission form is linked down below. And as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.